Tonight's forecast. A freeze is coming.
Hey YouTube, Jim here. Welcome to Top 10 Archive. Ice is often underrated, especially when compared to fire. Fire can burn, destroy, renew, and is often seen as more powerful. However, ice can also burn, destroy, renew, and even preserve. Perhaps we've been underestimating freezing as a weapon.
What killed the dinosaurs? The Ice Age! Stay cool, bird boy.
Patent pending. Not everything that's preserved should be, though, and sometimes defrosting whatever it is that got caught can turn into a really frightening moment. Like when you defrost your wedding cake after 5 years, but you're no longer married. Horrifying! Get ready for 10 scary things found frozen in ice. But before we get started, why not become an archivist today by clicking that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on any future uploads. If you end up enjoying this video, let us know by giving it a thumbs up. And in the comment section, tell us what the last thing is that you'd want to find frozen in ice.
Number 10. Photographs. After a tragedy, we're often left with the remains of people and their belongings, such as clothes. In this case, the tragedy was at sea, and the passengers were on a ship. In 2013, conservationists were reconstructing huts in the Arctic and came upon a gem, a lockbox in a block of ice. Inside were black and white images from the shipwreck. In them, you could see an expedition, a crew in distress, and the leader of the expedition, Ernest Shackleton. After the crash, it seems the crew walked away on frozen water to safety. They actually survived and left the photos. Gotta love a happy ending. Number 9. Volcano. Volcanoes aren't usually what you think of when you imagine what you could find under an ice cap. However, there is a place where you can find it. There is an actual volcano frozen in ice in China. Well, kind of. Ice, in the case of these plains, is forming structures that resemble volcanoes when the ground freezes over, then melts. The change in temperature creates these strange-looking things. Now these flatlands in China look like they have protruding hills out of nowhere. You won't find lava inside waiting to take you in once that ice melts, but the place is quite a sight either way. Who knew ice could do stuff like that? Pretty cool. Number 8. Green boots. Somewhere in Mount Everest, locals and climbers alike know the area called the Rainbow Alley. This isn't because you get a particularly amazing Nepal rainbow while you're on it, but rather because of how many climbers have died there, leaving their bodies and colorful gear scattered about. There's no doubt about it. If you haven't been properly trained for it, Mount Everest could be your final resting place. One particular climber died on Mount Everest wearing bright green boots. Their body was somewhere under a rock and was later removed months later. The boots remained, however, after he was taken away, possibly to be buried properly. That's certainly quite morbid. Number 7. A meteorite. Yes, like an actual meteorite from space. Now, it's not a meteor, so it didn't make a dent on Earth, and it's really just the size of a potato. But how exciting and freaky is it to see something that was hurling around space come right into our backyard? If you call Antarctica our backyard, that is. The meteorite fell into the desolate Antarctica, and it holds microbes from Mars from ages ago, which could be incredibly enlightening to scientists as to what Mars held way back when. Number 6. Weird skulls. Antarctica isn't just full of meteorites, though. In fact, scientists have found crazier things. Get this, they actually found some skulls from prehistoric people. These skulls don't look much like ours, though, as they're actually elongated on the top, making them look a lot more like an alien than anything else. They've since found more human remains, but these skulls were the very first to be found. This lets us know that not only have humans visited Antarctica before modern technology, they actually did so a very long time ago. Number 5. Bloody Waterfall. Okay, say you went to Antarctica and you didn't find a meteorite or a skull. You'd think maybe you'd see some cool animals, a glacier or something, or a bloody waterfall. And when I say bloody, I'm not trying to sound British. In Antarctica, you can actually find a waterfall that appears to be constantly streaming blood from the ice into the water. The Taylor Glacier is the host of this scary phenomenon, and the reason behind it may surprise you. The source has a large content of iron oxide, coloring the water in this eerie way. Number 4. Alien vs. Icy Predator. This horrid thing found by scientists in the Antarctica ice seems like some strange fusion between Alien and Predator from the movie franchise. It's only 20 centimeters big with a 2-centimeter retractable jaw, but it might as well be as big as a fully grown tiger. Scientists don't know much about it, besides that it looks like it wants to eat us all in 2-centimeter bites at a time. Its appearance even has bits that look like chicken legs. I don't know, perhaps this is one scary thing that can just stay frozen in ice. I'm totally fine with never knowing more. Number 3. Rugby bodies. This Uruguayan team's plane crashed into the Andes Mountains, killing many of them. However, those that survived weren't off the hook. They had a long trek ahead in order to feel safe. In fact, they were listening to the radio when the announcement was made that the search for them had ceased. How devastating! This isn't the scary part, though. When 2 of them finally made their way to make contact and the rest were found, a priest had been sent to help with the final resting place of those who passed. Little did he know that he wouldn't find some of the bodies intact, as the survivors resorted to cannibalism in order to stay alive. Number 2. Abandoned huts. When you try to be the first human to reach the South Pole, you're taking on a lot of risks. In fact, the odds are against you. This was the case for Robert Falcon Scott. Imagine the fear of going into the frigid unknown, just trying to make a legacy. What's worse is when they arrived, they found that they had been beaten to the punch by a group of Norwegians. On their way back to their supply hut, the team died after being hit by tough weather. The hut was buried under snow and ice and only found later in 1956 when it was dug up and found frozen in time. Number 1. Endurance. Endurance was the name of a ship holding an expedition to Antarctica which crashed and sank. Since then, several expeditions had attempted to find it but failed. However, in 2018, more technology was brought in as backup and was still going on until the researchers found that they ran a high risk of becoming stuck in the ice just like the Endurance did over 100 years before, and so had to give up the search and walk away empty-handed. Quite sad, as it could have been very interesting and pretty nostalgic to bring up the old fallen ship, just like in Titanic. Thanks for watching. Some of these, well, all of these actually, were pretty chilling. Let us know in the comments section below if you thought so too. Help keep us from being put on ice by subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell, and giving this video a like.